A very good morning, good evening to all of you. Just give me a sec. Merit all.
Recording in progress.
Just give me a sec. I'm just trying to fix something. Just give me a sec. Okay. So good morning, good evening. A very warm welcome to all of you. Welcome to today's edition of Daily Wisdom from Bhagavad Gita. Hope you had a great weekend or having a great weekend or had a great weekend. Yeah. So very warm welcome to all of you. Let's get started with our discussion on Karam Yoga and Karam Sannyas is what we are talking about, and what is true renunciation is what we were discussing. So we will continue on our exciting Bhagavad Gita journey. Let me share my screen and then we will get underway. Let me know when you see my screen. Are you able to see my screen?
We can see now. Yes, we can see now.
Thank you. Just give me a sec. Why it spins for a while. Okay. Okay, let's get started with our opening prayers like we always do. Gurur Brahma, Gurur Vishnu, Guru Devo Maheshwaraha, Guru Sakshat Parbrahma, Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. Vasudeva Sutam Devam Kamsachanuramardanam Devaki Paramanandam Krishnam Vande Jagatgurum Krishnam Vande Jagatgurum. All right. So Radhe Radhe, good morning, good evening. Again, very warm welcome to all of you. So let's get started with our soul soup segment like we always do. Just give me a sec. And we are talking on the topic of willpower. So as part of this, what we discussed last week was what does willpower enable us to do? And this is something that is like a muscle that we can develop and make stronger like any muscle we can through our training, strength training. Now, the muscle of willpower, what does it enable to do? First of all, where does it reside? It resides in the prefrontal cortex of our brain. Prefrontal cortex. And it enables self-control and willpower. Now, what does that mean? It means I want, I will, and I won't. So there are the three aspects of the willpower. Now, let's go a little more into this topic today and talk about an experiment that was conducted, how willpower works. Though there were a set of students, they were invited to snacking, free snacks. So they were divided into two groups, and the unlucky group was taken to a room that had raw radishes and the delicious smelling cookies as well. Both, hot cookies, the delicious smelling, both were there. And they were asked to wait in the room and eat the radishes if they choose to, but not the cookies. Okay, you can eat the radishes, but not the cookies. So just imagine the temptation that they have on one side and what they are actually allowed to eat. Now, their reactions were observed through a small window. And what happened was they were tempted, they gazed longingly, but they settled down to nibble at the bland radishes. That's what they continued to do. Now they were taken to another room and given puzzles to solve. Now they were given, after that, they give a lot of puzzles. Can you go ahead and solve these puzzles? And they thought they were being tested for their smartness, cleverness on how to solve the puzzles. But the puzzles actually were unsolvable. Okay, you cannot solve those puzzles. Now what happened? The second group, this was what happened with the first group. Now, second group was guided to a room that had freshly baked cookies, similar to what these people have, placed in a bowl. And they were told that you could eat all that you want. Free hand give was given to them. So they were given, and then they enjoyed, they relished it pretty much. And then they were given same puzzles to solve. Then they were taken to another room and same puzzles to solve. Now, interestingly, what happened, how much time both of the groups invested in solving the puzzles. The group that was asked to eat raw radishes, they actually gave up in the average of about, for an average of about uh, 6 to 7 minutes. And the group that had feasted on cookies, it lasted for about 20 minutes. Those puzzles were anyway unsolvable. So the conclusion that was drawn from the study was that willpower, the first group, if you look at it, they had to exert their willpower not to eat cookies, even though they were lying in front of them. And second group did not have to use their willpower before doing that hard work of solving the puzzles. So what the conclusion that was drawn was that, like the physical muscles tire, the same thing happens to our willpower as well. It gets fatigued when it is exerted. And when it gets fatigued, there is a good chance it gets broken as well, right? Like muscles, they break. So people who display tremendous discipline of going to gym for the entire week and sticking to that proper diet, we know then what happens when they resort to the cheat diet. Suddenly, they find their willpower snapping. And after a week of abstinence, they can go on to binge eating. That can happen. So now in the marital therapist have used this willpower conclusion, you know, to as the reason behind the behavioral pattern that they observe in marriages as well. So what happens is both husband and wife, especially if they are working, they have challenging circumstances, in their careers, in their day-to-day, office, and whatever profession that they are in. Now they fight over apparently trivial matters, typically when they come back from office. Why? Because they've already exhausted the reservoir of their willpower during the daytime. So most of the fights happen when you come back in the evening. Arguments can pick up, and that is correlated. You can actually correlate it to the fact that your willpower has been exhausted because it is a limited reservoir. So our willpower is at its peak in the early hours, wee hours of the day. So and that is why it is always good to get the work that you want to accomplish during the wee hours. We are efficient as well, but our willpower is very strong as well. And on the other hand, conversely, we are most vulnerable during in indulgences and vices during evening and night time. Why? Because our willpower is already withered away. And then if you have to exert it again, it takes some doing. So like a muscle, the key thing here is that we need to use this capacity and this understanding that first of all, it is a muscle which needs to be trained. And secondly, it has its limits as well. And it is at the peak in the morning and it is at its worst in the evening when you have expended it throughout the day. And that is why you see people have, they drink usually in the late hours, gamble or pick up fights. They are a little irritated around the evening time or as the day wears on. Now, although they have the capacity to do the harder task, they do have the capacity, but the desire to do more pleasurable increases big time, okay, during the later hours. Now, the question is that how do we grow our willpower in that case? Okay, what are the things that we can do to increase our willpower? And is there anything, any other thing that can be used as a supplement um, to enhance your willpower? So we will continue on this fascinating discussion. But now let's get to the topic of our discussion and move on to our shloka. We are on shloka chapter 5, verse 3. I'm going to recite it and we'll pick up a few hands. ज्ञेय स नित्य संन्यासी यो न द्वेष्टि न कांक्षति निर्दव निर्दवन्दवो निर निर्दवन्दवो हि महाबाहो सुखं बन्धात् प्रमुच्यते. All right, please go ahead. Do we have
There
some?
are, yeah, I'll start this way.
Sure.
Yes, nitya sannyasi, yo na dveshtvi na kankshati, nirdvandvo hi mahabaho, sukham bandhat pramuchyate. Radhe Radhe.
So it's nirdvandvo, nirdvandvo. Yeah, it was a bit of a tongue twister. Thank you, Shamli. Okay, let's take a few more hands.
Buddha Kumar ji, Radhe Radhe.
राधे राधे ज्ञेयः स नित्यसन्न्यासी यो न द्वेष्टि न काङ्क्षति निर्द्वन्द्वो हि महाबाहो सुखं बन्धात् प्रमुच्यते राधे राधे
Radhe, thank you. Very nice.
Sam ji, Radhe Radhe.
Radhe Radhe.
Radhe, Samji.
Jneya sa nitya sannyasi yo na dveshti na kankshati nirdvandvo hi mahabaho sukham bandhat parmuchyate. Radhe Radhe.
Thank you. Radhe, Radhe. Samiran Mishra ji, I see the thing join raising hand for the first time. Please go ahead, Samiran ji. Samiran,
Samiran.
yeah, please go ahead.
ये नित्य संन्यासी यो न दृष्टि न कांक्षति निर्द्वन्द्वो हि महाबाहो सूक्ष्मबन्धत् परमा
Pramuchyate.
सूक्ष्मबन्धे प्रमुच्यते.
Thank you. Where are you joining us from, Samiran ji?
Sir, I'm joining from Bangalore, India.
Okay, welcome to the sessions. Pleasure to have you here. All right, Sandhya ji, please go ahead. Last one, and then we'll continue with our discussion.
Something happened again. Sorry, once again. Gneyas nitya sannyasi yo na dveshti na kankshati nidvandvo hi mahabaho sukham bandhat pramuchyate. Radhe Radhe. Thank you.
Radhe Radhe, very nice. Thank you. So in this shloka, Lord Krishna is saying the discussion, this is how the discussion teed off. Arjun has asked Lord Krishna that tell me Karam Yog or Karam Sannyas, between these two, which one is superior and why? Now in this, he's expounding on the topic and he's answering this question. What he's saying is the Karam Yogis, he's saying that they are superior. And he's building on that. And in this shloka is saying that the Karam Yogis who neither desire nor hate anything, which is na dveshti na kankshati, na dveshti na kankshati, should be considered always renounced. And that is the true definition of renunciation. It's a very profound and a deep definition. We will discuss more today, taking some practical life scenarios, say which category does it fill it. I mean, is it true detachment, vairagya, or it is not? Now, free from all dualities, they are easily liberated from the bonds of material energy. Now, he's saying they are easily liberated. But freeing yourself from dualities, that's where the effort goes. Once that effort, we put in, expend that effort around rising above the dualities, then it becomes easy. So let's continue on our discussion. So what we discussed, I'll do a quick recap. Karam Yoga is our insurance policy. It's a safety net, because if we don't end up doing our spiritual duties, at least we have our material duties to fall back upon. But if you simply renounce the world and you're not able to take your mind to God there, then you are neither here nor there. And that is a very tricky situation to be in, because human life is a precious gift. And if it gets wasted because of our ignorance or because of our lack of understanding around what is true renunciation or what is vairagya, then it can have a compounding effect, because that leads to our sanskars, and sanskars is something that really dictates our thought process, and thought process is what dictates our actions, and actions is what dictates our habits, and habits is what dictates our personality and character as well, right? So it's all interlinked. So every thought that comes to our mind, every piece of knowledge that we activate, there's a big big term, what you call that, the long-term ramifications of it. Okay, it's not a innocuous thing. So let's move on. What we've been talking about. So this is okay. There's no stereotypes here. So basically, the somebody's doing puja, and if they are thinking about the world, milkman, or what is, whether the pressure cooker or the dal has become or the maid has come, then that is something which is not really the puja. You don't get the benefit of puja. Our scriptures say where your mind is. And Karam Yoga is where you might be working, but your mind might be attached to God. Okay. So this is what Karam Yoga is, where your mind is attached to God. In the sense that attached to God doesn't mean you are thinking about God, because you can think about God or work. You cannot, those both the things cannot coexist, because mind is one. So what, when we say my mind is in God, what it means is your attachment is to God. That big picture part of it is so drilled into your head that you're always clear about who are you working for and why you're doing this, right? So that is a consciousness that we need to mindfully and systematically acquire, is the key message here. Let's move on. And then we spoke about the sim. The sim is, since the senses, intellect and mind, when it is engaged in seeking material happiness for self, that becomes bhog, and it remains world like. So our mind, where you put in whatever is the object of your meditation, it starts acquiring its qualities. And if majority of our time is spent in thinking about something which is material, it will acquire its property. It is anyway material. Mind is already material, and you are just making it more material, materially material. Okay. But when we start bringing in the divine consciousness around every act and things that we do, then what happens is our mind starts getting cleansed. And when it starts getting cleansed, it's getting more closer to divinity. Why? Because when you meditate, your mind, or the your object of meditation is God, then you acquire his properties, the Devic guns and all the good qualities that it comes. And that is why devotion, path of devotion is like, it's an emotional path where our heart is equated to like a cold wax. Cold wax. So if the cold wax is cold, can it take on any color? It cannot. How can it take on any color? Only if you heat it and melt it. When you heat it and melt it, then you can add a color to it and it will take it. So that heating and raising the temperature of heart and melting that part is the devotion aspect of it. The emotions or the sentiments that you bring to the fold when we do bhajan, kirtan, rup dhyan, that is where we can take on the properties of God. But that is a karam sannyas sadhana that you do in isolation. You're just focused on that. That is not something you can do throughout the day. And that is why God has made it easier to tell that, okay, you don't have to do it throughout the day. You start building the consciousness in your day-to-day work. No matter what you are doing, you start attaching it to God. Okay, I'm doing it for the pleasure of God. Or I can earn more so that I can give more. I can rise in my corporate ladder so that God will be happy that whatever he has given to me, those abilities, I'm putting it to good use. So everything can be dovetailed towards God. So science, senses, mind, and intellect has to be really directed. And we spoke about this rat experiment as well, where rat, even though the rat can escape the trap that it is in, but it is hung up in thinking about where the carrot is and where I'm going to get an electric shock. And this other rat, it basically falls trapped to this rice puff, which is strategically kept outside a godown, because the owner knows the rats that are going to come are going to get lured into this trap alone. They don't have the intellect to reject it and go for the big godown, because godown has much more than this trap has. And something similar we end up doing lifetime, life to lifetime as well, where we keep on engaging our senses in things And unless we reject it, it will not open up the possibilities for us for something bigger, better, and lasting, which is the happiness, bliss, and peace that we are talking about. So that is the lure of this trap that we need to mindfully observe and do something about. So it is like settling for nickels over the gold. So this is what we are talking about. Now let's talk about these scenarios. What is detachment? Okay, this is where I want to have a little bit of discussion. Maybe you can raise your hand and participate in it, because these are some of the real life scenarios that we have picked up and say, is it detachment or not? Okay, so one hand, it is bondage. And on the other hand, oops, I don't know why it is bondage. And on the other hand, it could be liberating. So let's look at it one by one. You could take up anything. An inability to make emotional connections with people. You think it is a bondage, or is it liberating? Or it is something which is frees up our mind? Anybody who wants to take this?
Nitin bhai, Radhe Radhe.
Radhe Radhe.
Now, how come this can be detachment? Because it's inability on my part. When I'm not attached to a person or a thing, it can't be detachment, isn't it so?
No, is it detachment or is it not?
It is not, because this is I cannot be. It is my inability. You know, I'm not attached to a person or a thing.
Mm-hmm.
Attachment means something which I'm attached to and trying to be off it. In this case, what I feel is that this is my something in my which I'm not able to connect with people.
Right. So inability here. Arnima has raised her hand as well. Go ahead.
Adimaji, I can't. 1 second.
Or it might be Nivan playing tricks. Who knows? Yeah, go ahead.
Uh,
Yeah, go ahead.
Radhe Radhe.
Radhe Radhe.
Yeah, I was thinking that it is a part. I don't know if you can take it with attachment or detachment, but it is just an ability, because I've seen Swamiji or any saint, even for Maharaj Ji. Um, there is some strong connection that builds up between guru and disciple also, which is an emotional connection. That's how it is very strong. That's what I feel. So I think it's just an ability. I think even within detachment, you can make an emotional connection with other people as a um, on the soul level.
No, fair enough. We'll continue with this discussion. Let's hear if there are any more who want to make that. So it is classified as bondage. We'll come back to that. The next one, the process of letting go of past experiences and future expectations. You think it is detachment, or is it freedom? Is it bondage or is it freedom?
Samji raised his hands.
Yeah, freedom.
Samji,
Freedom.
Process of letting go of past experiences and future expectations. Yeah, it is freedom, because now you can operate from a free mind. When we are hung up on the things that have happened in the past, and then we start building future expectations, then it is a bondage. You are imposing more what you call that restrictions on your mind. It is binding or entrenching you further in this world. But when you are free in your mind, it actually you can enjoy that freedom where you are in the moment. There's so many books written on that, the power of now and stuff like that, Eckhart Tolle, and so many people who are motivational speakers, or people who have had some realizations. They talk about the power of now, and having that ability to live in the present is also a big deal. And if you have already cut a corner with regards to letting go of past experiences and not building unnecessary expectations in future, taking a moment, life as a moment by moment phenomena. They say, right, life is what happens when you're busy planning. That is actually freedom. Okay, in that case, that and it stems from the fact that you're not attached, you're free. Attachment is a bondage. You're building a neural network around something that is going to chain you. This is how it works. But process of letting go and not building expectation, it requires to break that shackle. You have already broken that shackle. If you can actually live that consistently, I think it's a great ability to have. Focusing more on the present moment, I think it's
Freedom.
Pretty much reiterating the same thing, right?
Could be
Letting others take charge of your life. How about that?
bondage.
Anybody who wants to say that? I mean, we picked up some real life scenarios, very, very relevant scenarios.
Bondage.
Why would that be? Yes, Komalji.
Radhe Radhe, everyone. I think Nitinji, that is going to be bondage,
Mm-hmm.
letting
And
others take charge of your life.
true. So if you look at it, this is a very common thing that, if we don't work on it consciously, all of us can fall into. What was that term? सबसे बड़ा रोग क्या कहेंगे चार लोग?
Log.
And I think there is a phobia as a variant. It is called allodoxaphobia. So we just need a lot of validation from people around. And this is something that can really derail our not only our spiritual journey but material journey as well, because now we are constantly seeking validation. And secondly, it's like distributing the keys of your happiness to people around. Only when they turn the key will you be happy, which is a very vulnerable position to be in. And it is a bondage. That is also a bondage, right? So we need to rise over this bondage as well, figure out ways and work on it. Yes,
Yeah.
Jyotiji, wanted to add something?
Nitinji, I have a quick, I just want to check on that. So
Mhm.
sometimes I think, I'm not sure if this related to that, but sometimes we do a lot of things for our elders, though even we are not happy, I think a lot of time I heard from the parents and from, just do like that because, wish your relative, like if something is going wrong, just call them, like those kind of things to make them feel good. It doesn't matter how you are feeling, but just to make others feel good. Sometimes I've seen a lot of people say, just do it. How does it matter to you? But I think at some point it matters to you. But yeah, I don't know if that comes under the same thing, letting others take charge of your life.
Yeah, you take your call, right? World will
Yeah.
always have an opinion about your life, what
Yeah.
you should be doing and why you should be doing. So you decide for yourself and calibrate your time around how much time you want to give around things around you, right? Because your time is limited anyways. There is a story, right, of Lord Shiv, Parvati, and Nandi. When they came down, they came down to Mityalok for, I mean, it was a Leela. So they said, Lord Shiv was riding Nandi, and people started talking about, look at him. The lady is walking, and he's himself happily sitting on bull and riding here. And then Lord Shiv got down, and Parvati ji sat there, and then people came there. First the feminist came in, and now people said, look at this lady. Husband is walking, and she's happily enjoying the ride here. And then both of them got down. They said, look at these fools. You've got this whole bull they can ride on, and they're simply walking here. None of them are doing that. Then both of them sat on it. They said how cruel they are. Maybe they are Menaka Gandhi's relatives or somebody, right? What kind of people are they? Poor fellow, and they both are riding. Then they got down. They said, all right, let us just hold him and walk, along with it. And they said, look at these fools. They have the whole animal and they're taking them. So the point is, no matter what you do, people will have opinions. So if we look at that validation, it's a zero-sum game. So every opinion, every statement, every thought, every sentence can have a counter thought, counter statement, counter opinion. So it is like it's a never-ending battle. We need to take a call around what we think is right, right? Otherwise, people will tell you, hey, this is what it should be. This is the age for you to do this, and this is the age you should have at this. How long you will go with that? That is a real actual knowledge really helps where we are not second guessing ourselves, and whatever we are doing with certainty and assurance around that whole thing. Yes, I see a couple of other hands raised as well. Kumarji and Samiranji. Let's take Samiranji first, and then we'll get to Kumarji. Now, running away from distress is the next one. Anybody who wants to say that? Or Samiranji, you wanted to add something on this?
Uh, it will be bondage.
Running away from distress. Now, think of this scenario. A lot of people, they take sannyas, right? They say, okay, this world is that just too much of trouble is going on here, right? Family wife, and wife is saying this, and parents are saying this, and boss is saying this. I'm just going to do Ganga Snan and then go to Rishikesh or maybe Himalayas and become a monk. Okay, so if you run away from distress in the world, then it is a bondage. Okay, that's not true renunciation. And in this particular shloka, Lord Krishna is saying na kankshati. Basically, he's saying neither distress nor pleasure. When you actually get into that mindset that there is neither pleasure nor distress in this world, that is, and then you renounce it, that is true renunciation. Not that, okay, there's a lot of problems and you run away from the problem. Then what will happen is when you get into the renunciation, renounced life, and then you'll have problem there, you will run away from there as well. So you don't run away. It's like when you've reached a stage, our scriptures are telling us, basically, when you've reached a stage when it doesn't matter and you are perfectly situated in this knowledge, there is neither happiness nor distress here. That's when your renunciation will count. Otherwise, it will not. So it's a form of a bondage only. Yes, Kumarji, you wanted to add something?
Jai Shri Ram, Jai Hanuman. No, well, I can take the next one, but I also wanted to just make a mention. Couple of things. One is this session did not come up on my WhatsApp group as that it was going to be there. So that's why I joined late. But anyways, I think there are a couple of late night sessions which is not coming up. This one as well as Ajay's class. So I don't know why. But anyway, so one thing which I want to check here, anchoring on the efforts we make to achieve an outcome, I think would come under freedom.
Yeah, that is true. I think this is the concept of Karam Yoga we have spoken about, where we focus on the efforts, whatever, and then outcome is, we don't have an outcome. We do set goals and milestones, but then the outcome, we do have a humility to understand that it is not something that we control. And it's a function of a lot of other things. So very rightly said, Kumarji. Thank you.
Yeah, just one more thing. I just wanted to mention, because someone was saying that, the parents, parents are asking to respond and all that stuff. Again, yes, I agree. You have to put your boundaries, but what I feel is, at least to our blood relations, this is the least you can do, right? Basically, respond to them, whether it's your parents or your children, however they are, right? They are not asking for too much. Of course, if they ask for too much, just explain it to them.
Mm-hmm.
But at least that is, at least we need to do that, right? For them bringing us into this earth, for whatever, reason, whatever it is. But I think one should do that, and same thing with our kids as well. Okay.
Yeah,
thank you. Jai Shri Ram.
Jai Shri Ram. Yeah, that's true. In fact, Komalji, that's where I think it's like every relationship has withdrawals and deposits, right? You calibrate it, how much you think is relevant. And yeah, I mean, if somebody feels good, you giving them a quick call, why not? But again, it's very contextual. If somebody's happiness is solely dependent on that, and that becomes a thing, and you have to take a call. So you take a call around it, are you truly helping in that particular relationship, or as a matter of duty, or it doesn't take a lot of time commitment on your end, and somebody becomes happy, you take a call. It's pretty contextual around that. But yeah, thank you for your inputs, Kumarji. Shalini ji, I see another hand. Yes, Shalini ji, you wanted to take becoming dispassionate about our environment.
Radhe Radhe Nitinji. Actually, I had a question on the previous one, letting others take charge of a life. So I've seen that a lot of time it's common in Indian families where, when the parents tell their children, even when they're a little older, that, okay, do this is right for you. And if it happens all the time, then the child, they probably are not able to use their free will after some time. They're so used to listening to the parents. And so at some point, I think that should maybe stop. Let kids make a mistake, especially when they're older. So I don't know what would you say about that?
No, I think parenting is one manual. You cannot every kid is unique, but scripturally speaking, and whatever little I've understood from hearing Swamiji on this topic is, See, there are different stages of kids, right? Initial 5 years are like their previous sanskars are dictating most of the stuff, previous sanskars. So for the first 5 years, he said, give them a lot of love. Don't start reprimanding them, hey, you're doing this, that. Just give them love. And for some, it could extend up to 6 and 7 as well. Really depends on the child. And then they say that from 7 to 12, typically you should use both the reward and punishment not the harsh way, but the consequence management with kids, so that they understand, because now they are in the stage where their intellect is kind of forming as well, right? So they should understand, if I do this good behavior, it is rewarded, and then if not, then maybe a silent treatment or whatever it is. So basically the iron glove and the velvet glove both have to be used with prudence, of course. And typically after 12 or 13, whatever you were supposed to do, you've already done it. Now you can only be a witness, because now they will be looking validation from world peoples, and then at best you can do is hope that their association is good, because Sang Karang is the biggest influence on them after a certain age. So in that sense, kids, I mean, and then of course they have to grow their own wings, right? If you let them become the same version as you are, because you tell them this is right, this is wrong, this is what you should be done, then the world will have to deal with the same stupidity as you, right? You will end up creating a probably a similar your clone of yourself, telling, letting them see the world through your eyes, and then world will have to deal with the same stupidity, right? So the point is, but it's easier said than done. A lot of let go is needed, a lot of spiritual wisdom is needed, and it's a lot of factors have to fall in place around that, right? So yes, I agree. Eventually they have to grow, they have to take their own flight, they have to grow their wings. Right? Eagle, what does it do? It builds its nest at a pretty very high cliff, and it has to make a very strong nest, because the gusts of wind and those environment is pretty harsh, like the high cliffs and stuff, like that's where it creates its nest. And when the nest is created, and that's when she lays the eggs. And when the birds start coming out, it's hanging. It's a cliff down that the small the eagle baby is staring at, but it knows just at the right moment when to give it a push. Okay, baby will not be able to take that leap, but the mother eagle, it gives it a push. Why? And then because it know this is just the right time when it will expand its wings and take its own flight. So nature has tons of examples around it where they let go of it beyond a point. It's only humans who are endowed with some special powers that Brahmaji has given for some reason. They start utilizing it for things which end up becoming unholy attachments.
Yes.
Yes,
Thank
in
you. Yes,
yeah.
Radhe Radhe.
Right.
I
So
think you had given another example of the giraffe mom,
giraffe
the
mom, we
baby.
spoke about
Yes,
giraffe
yes,
mom as well.
yes, yes, yes. I can, yeah. Okay, thank you very much, Radhe Radhe.
Yeah, but there are no right and wrong rules, but yeah,
Hmm.
framework is like give them a lot of love, and then start telling them about, the consequences of and promoting good behavior around it, and just feed them with good foundation and sanskar, because eventually they'll take their own flight in life. So then we cannot
Thank
become a
you.
helicopter for the rest of their life, and hope that they would do and think and all that stuff. So yeah, it is a lot of letting go of part of it as well. So yeah.
Thank you very much, Radhe Radhe.
No worries. But kids will anyway make you feel detached, okay, after a while. Here, especially, once they start teenage, then they will tell you basically, they'll give enough reasons to get detached. And that gap between their teenage and when they start understanding the deeper concepts of life for them, it can extend up to 40, 50 years also. Some pick it up in 25, 30 if you're lucky. You can only hope that you have given them a good foundation and good seeding, and then that can become an anchor for them for the rest of their lives. But there's no formula as such that you can crack it. Okay, if I do this, this will happen. And then they come with their own sanskars as well, right? So it's a pretty complex equation that we're trying to solve. But raising kids is one of the most difficult projects as well. Just think of it. God has partnered with you to bring forth that soul, and God has partnered with the mother to bring forth nature. So it's a very, very high responsibility job if you think about it. And the best odds we can increase the odds of giving our kids a very good foundation is only when we have worked on ourselves. They will not simply listen to you. They will look at what you are doing. So without working on ourselves, if we hope our kids are going to become the next Shravan Kumar, it's not going to happen. So we need to ask that question, how much we are willing to invest on ourselves, and walk the talk as best as you can, so that they can observe and hopefully become better human beings down the line. And that's the best gift anyways we can give to kids, because eventually they have to take their own flight. And any challenges which are bound to happen in life, when life is going to throw curveballs, that's when their mettle will be tested. How strong they have become as individuals, how emotionally independent they are, how can they take failures in life, do they need validation of people around. So all those things will be tested. And in the newer generation has bigger challenges than probably we had, because lives are becoming more complicated now. Okay, so but that was a long-winded answer to your short question, but hopefully we had a good discussion on this topic as well. Becoming dispassionate about our environment. Anybody who wants to take that? Dispassionate about our environment is a good one.
Samji, Radhe Radhe.
Please go ahead.
Before I go to that one, I want to bring an item of doubt into the anchoring to the efforts to achieve an outcome. Just a doubt, a little bit. If you are planning that certain outcome will be coming, no matter you are anchoring on your efforts, your self-efforts are there. But then in a way, you are looking for something, some achievement will be there. Effort part is good, but it looks like you are putting some kind of expectations. My crop will be good harvest, I will be able to get it. Just an iota of doubt. What do you think?
So yeah, you see, any effort that we do, basically, we do have some kind of an outcome in our mind. And that's what we try to make. It's not like we'll see whatever happens. Like there's a person, right? There's a guy who comes in an auto. So he asks him, he says, can you stop? He said, yeah, where do you want to go? So he said, wherever you want to take. He said, then go wherever you want. So point is, we need to know where we are going and then put our best efforts around it. And then the outcome is something that you need to have an acceptance around it, because you need a direction, which direction you want to run. That is definitely needed. But that doesn't mean you will reach there, right? You put an effort, and it is like prayatn mein savdhani, phal mein santushti. Do things as if everything depends on you. But when it comes to result, just have the humility, or, understanding that everything depends on God. So yes, when you work, let's say outcome is to pass an exam with flying colors. So I will not say no, or whatever happens, I'm just going to give it my best. So you will say, yes, I want to, pass with flying colors, and I'm going to put in my 200% to do that. So that is basically, you have an outcome in mind. And when you put 200%, if it doesn't happen, then have an acceptance. Maybe I needed to try harder, right? That could be the acceptance around it. Or maybe it was not meant to happen. I don't know, whatever the scenario would be. But outcome is definitely at the back of your mind. This is what I want to achieve. But it has to be supplemented with the thought that, okay, if you don't end up achieving, you simply have an acceptance. That is what Karma Yoga is.
Now, coming the next one, becoming dispassionate. That should be a bondage that you are kind of.
No. It's not passionate. It is dispassionate. Dispassionate means it's not like you're udasin. It's like you're neutral. Neutral means, I'll give you an example. Like, for example, let's say you on Diwali, we are going to buy sweets. So you want to buy besan ke laddus, okay, on Diwali. So, and you're walking because you know that this is what you're going to buy. So you're looking for a sweet shop. And on the way, you're not finding sweet shop. You find chappal shop, shoe shop, the cosmetic shop, and this, that. So you're not fighting with anyone. That why you're not selling sweets. You have a focus. You're neutral to them, right? Like if other shop is selling something else, or you're not finding the sweet that you're looking for, you just know this is what my focus is, and you're dispassionate to your environment around. You don't pick up fights with people. Hey, I was looking for besan ke laddu, and why you're not selling me that? You're just neutral to that. So dispassionate means you are insulated or immune to the environment around you. And that is a huge quality to have, because now you have taken the keys and you just know what you need to do in life, as opposed to what your environment is dictating. So this is a freedom, not a bondage. Dispassionate is actually a big freedom to have. I hope it made sense.
And the next two seems to be like freedom, because analogy of a boat, because you are Sharnagat. You are kind of surrendering to God, whatever is happening.
We'll get to that, yeah. Anybody else wanted to add anything more on becoming dispassionate? I see Shalini ji raised her hand. We'll get to that, Samji. Shalini ji, you wanted to say something?
I think Radhika, I think it was from the previous time only.
Okay, no worries.
But I think it should be becoming dispassionate about the environment is actually freedom. You don't really care about the environment. You can just flourish anywhere.
True.
Analogy of a boat would be freedom, I would say.
Yeah, boat is a very good analogy to actually understand, because the boat is able to float because of the Archimedes principle. Because the weight of the water displaced is less than the actual weight. So point is here that the reason the boat is able to float is because it is not letting the water come inside, because when the water comes inside, then it will drown. Okay, so that analogy of a boat is freedom. Only you can navigate through the ocean of this world if you can operate like a boat. Yes, Arnima, you wanted to add something?
Yeah, I just want to ask that what about dispassionate about your work? Would that be a freedom or bondage?
Dispassionate about your, it's a freedom. It's a freedom actually. Yeah, you do the work, that's about it. It's not like
No,
there are people who would continue to code, the work is done, but they're getting thrill about it because they derive some kick out of it, right? But the
but
problem with that, yeah, go ahead.
I remember a discussion with Swamiji where he told that, that passion is also important.
Passion is important. See, that becomes the way of your mindset, right? It's like whatever you're going to do, you're going to leave your signatures there. That doesn't mean you're attached to your work as such. I mean, I don't know if a good example or not. I mean, if you ask me right now, I work, 9 to 5 or 8 to 6, whatever it is. Am I passionate about my work? If somebody asks me, I mean, I was initially when I came out of college, I wanted to set the world on fire like everybody wants to do, right? Do this, do that. But right now, I don't care basically. But does it mean the work is not getting done, or it's like chalta hai attitude, or whatever, I don't care? No, work is still getting done and you do it to the best of your ability. But do you really are passionate about it and you'll go over and beyond and put in more hours than just to have some kind of a sense of satisfaction with your work? No, that is not there. So I have experienced it, so I can say it comfortably that you don't need to be passionate about your work to get your work done to the best of your ability. You have to do it. This is one of the things you have to do. That's about it. So passionate, this word that is used is like you bring in your you A game to everything. That's how I would say passionate. It doesn't mean you get attached to what you're doing and then you start deriving pleasure out of it. I hope that makes sense.
I think passion for your efforts is important, not for the result.
Passion for your efforts. Yeah, efforts. That's true. You derive some kind of a satisfaction in putting in your efforts because you would know, have I done my best in this situation or not? Right? This is a good point. So yes, passion or for your efforts aspect of it, which is what we had the previous one, right? Focusing, anchoring on the efforts. The previous one, that is a freedom. That's right. So when you anchor on the efforts, that automatically translates to, I mean, it'll come out manifest as a passion or whatever, but actually you're not attached to it. You're still doing it. Now, if you look at King Janak, Ambarish, Prahlad, now for a normal person or a normal eye, it would look like they are doing all the stuff that the world is doing. They are doing it so well. They are kings. They are, or have to do Samadanda Bhed and everything, right? King Janak would be telling his Gupchas, go and get the intel or intelligence from what is the other kingdom doing and stuff like that. So for an ordinary eye, it would be like, okay, they are bringing so much of energy and passion to the game, but internally they are detached to that activity. It's like they have to do it, so they'll do it to the best of their ability. But are they attached to that? Will they get stressed out with that work and all that? No, probably not. So both can go hand in hand actually. But passion aspect here is you bring your A game to anything that you do. Like Swamiji says, if there is something, um, worth, basically, if there is something that you do, if there is something worth doing, it is worth doing well. When you do something, do it really well. Otherwise, don't do it. But does it mean you get attached and then only you do it? No. So there's a bit of technicalities and nuances. So hope I answered that part of it. Yes, Shilpaji. Feelings.
In the mean, Kaji has a comment. She says, dispassionate isn't the opposite of passionate, and therefore is different from not passionate.
True.
Dispassionate means unaffected or uninfluenced by emotion when doing or considering some matter, and so able to be rational and impartial.
That is correct. Dispassionate is not an antonym of passionate, okay, in case that is the message that was coming across. So very true. Dispassionate would mean be neutral or disinterest. I mean, kind of a deal. I don't know what will be the exact synonym, but yeah, good call out.
Yeah, Shilpaji, Radhe Radhe.
Shilpaji.
Radhe, Nitinji sir. So just to follow up on that last question, and I think the questioner also answered answered their own question. I think in this case, it's being dispassionate about the environment, and what Swamiji was saying, being passionate about your own self. So I think that's where the difference is. Being passionate about one's own internal motivation, efforts, goals. Those are all like internal stuff. And dispassionate is environment, which is outside of our control. It's external and influenced by outside of our factors.
True.
So I think that's where the difference lies. What is within our control, we can be passionate about. What is outside of our control, which is our environment, is what we should be dispassionate about. And dispassionate sounds like it's the opposite of passionate, but I think in that case, it just means neutral. It doesn't mean
Passionate is
reverse.
not an antonym of passionate. Very true.
Right. It just means neutral.
It's like neutral. You don't have any preference basically. You're just neutral. Udasin would be a good word in Hindi. Udasin doesn't mean become sad, okay? It's like neutral. You don't care about that. So analogy of a boat we have spoken about. And then the next one, fear, anxiety, worry about the outcome, future. I think we kind of had that the second one as well. So this is something, a big bondage that we really need to work on. Right? Most of the people, they fall into this trap, and it comes uninvited just because of our conditioning. So it's not a 0-1 thing, it's a journey to get over that, but we should really think about it, bringing in that Sakshi Bhav or witness consciousness around, am I building a fear, unnecessary, a speculative event in future that may or may not happen? Like fear, we said, right? Face everything and rise, as opposed to let it paralyze you. Am I building an anxiety and by thinking about something? Am I worrying about something? It's like paying a tax for something that you have not even loaned. So this is a future tax tax you are paying for something that may or may not even happen, like interest that you are paying. So if you don't have a loan and you have to keep on paying interest, would you do that in real life? You'll say, how foolish of me, I'm paying interest on something that I have not even borrowed money for. And same thing is worry. You're thinking about something that may or may not even happen. And then it becomes sanskar. That is a problem. And then worrying is, anyway, it says it's like a rocking chair. You go back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. You're not really moving anywhere. So these things are a big bondage, and these are the ones that most of the people struggle with because it just comes uninvited because of the conditioning of our mind. Oh my God, that kind of a thing, immediately it happens. What if? And then your mind will take you to the negative scenarios big time. And that's because your amygdala gets kicked in very quickly. Amygdala is given by Brahmaji to us for flight and fight response, so that it helps us if a tiger comes in front of us. Okay, you can't fight a tiger. So your amygdala will tell you, it will rush blood to your, legs and make you stiff basically, because now you have to take some evasive action and then you can run. But that is being used for us to create scenarios in our head because our mind is not there yet, right? It is our enemy, and it will create some situations around it. So this is a big bondage that has to be worked on. Fear, anxiety, worry, and all those things. Last one, anybody? Decision made out of compulsion, then exercise of choice.
Sandhya ji, Radhe Radhe.
Radhe Sandhya ji.
Nitinji, I don't know how to answer this question. What is detachment? I feel somehow like it's mixed with both a bondage and freedom, because for me personally, letting the things like this, a process of letting go of past experience. So based on past experiences or whatever, letting go, I don't know whether it's right or not,
Is very right.
because I
You
even
learn from, sorry, I didn't want to interrupt you, but whether it's right or wrong, you asked, I'm just going to categorically answer that, and you can complete your question after that. Letting go of experience is right. Taking the learnings from them is what,
yeah
but forgetting that is, you have to move on. Please
yeah,
finish it.
letting go of past experiences, because as Samji expressed, because maybe because of the inability that we may, it falls into bondage, like inability to make emotional connections, because we don't want that kind of stuff again, or maybe because of the thirst that which we like, for suppose others, letting others take the charge of their life. Okay, let them do, or run away from the distress. So all I feel like it's mixed, because of these things we need to focus on God, or maybe because of these things we get disturbed, we need calmness in the mind. So all this, they're kind of mixed consequences. Based on all this, we do, like, letting go kind of, maybe for the thirst of God, or maybe unable to inability to face the people or face the situations, or maybe because of um, running away from distress. Everything, they're interrelated, I guess. uh, Not only for the thirst of God, we need calm. Only if we have calmness, then only we can concentrate on God. So we don't want the situation happen again and again. So okay, let them take the charge.
It's a chicken and
So
egg situation that you're talking. When you have calm, then you can only think about God. Now that when you think about God,
yeah,
then only you'll have
yeah,
calm. So
yeah. For to get calmness, okay, let them take the charge, or maybe because of the inability, let them do whatever, so that I need some calmness. I don't want that to happen and again and again. So
got it.
based on the past experiences, which will come under freedom again. So to move on further, because if I have calmness, only then I can think of God.
So
I
let go.
can concentrate on God. Yeah. So that's why letting go. Okay.
Very true. I think you made the
So
point. Fair
yeah,
point.
both are interrelated, I guess.
Yes, letting go is a good thing. Letting go is not the bad thing. Letting go
Yeah,
is
because
it's a
here
good
there's a
thing.
point called fear, anxiety, worry. Maybe because even that a point comes, because okay, maybe because that is going to happen again. Maybe yeah, you already mentioned that situation. If it comes up again, that will disturb my calmness. If I don't keep my mind calm,
Yes,
then I can't concentrate on
yes.
my God or whatever in my daily things. So
That's
okay, let go. Maybe it comes under fear also. So I'm saying both are interrelated.
yeah. I think you posed a question and you answered yourself, so that is wonderful. Now let's move on. The last one. If anybody wants to take decision made out of compulsion, then exercise of choice. So somebody said that, you know what, I have put a will of $1 million, write a check to God, basically. But that will get executed once you go from this world. Okay, so you think that would count as a charity? Or I'll tell you a story about a guy. He was doing his morning vandan and he was holding a puff of rice in his hand and thinking that how much should I keep for myself and how much should I give to God. So he was debating 50-50, 60-40, 70-20, 30-20, 30-70, until a gust of wind comes and blows away everything. And he said, okay, 100% to you, God. Okay, so you think that is actually an exercise of choice or what happened there? So this is a very important one. Which one? Anybody wants to take this question? Samji, please go ahead because you've turned your camera on, so you get the first privilege.
Yeah, the last one, it should be a bondage because of the compulsion in case because freedom of choice is normally taken as a granted for the freedom. Like you make a good choice, Shreya versus Preya. In case somebody forces upon you that you to go to engineering or something, instead somebody is passionate from photography or something or going to the temple.
True.
I think it should be a bondage all the time.
It is a bondage because now you are more relying on compulsion. It's like, did you even have a choice? No, you didn't have a choice. If you don't have a choice, then it's an opportunity forfeited basically in that particular scenario. So it is a
Right.
bondage. Yeah, it is made more out of compulsion. So when we have a choice, when we are in our senses, and when we can feel the pinch, that's when even charity would matter, or when we can exercise our free will, or that's when it matters. But other than that, it's a bondage basically. It's not a freedom at that point. Okay. So we are hopefully it's going to lead us to understand what true detachment is. Okay, it's a pretty deep thing. There are lot of facets to it, and then detachment, we simply think, oh, running away from responsibility. No, that's not the point. Detachment is much more subtler. We have to really work on ourselves to see this world. First of all, becoming neutral to things. When we are like, this is good, this is bad, those dualities are there playing in our head, then it's not, we are attached to something. We are attached to good, we are averse to bad. But when you think it's all the veritable form of God and everything is happening for a particular reason, and you start rising above the dualities, and there is neither hankering nor lamentation and stuff like that, that's when you are setting the stage or tilling the ground for true detachment that can unfold. Okay, any other questions? Hope you enjoyed this topic. We will continue on this discussion. A couple of more rounds would be there for 5.3 because this was pretty interesting. I thought we can have a pretty good discussion on this one. Any other questions on anything related to what we have spoken about? Yes, Pratusha, go ahead.
Radhe Radhe sir, Radhe Radhe everyone. I was just wanted to add something about being dispassionate. It was just like if we get established in our own real nature as soul, then whenever we look at the other person, we will, even in conflict or anything, if they need support, it's just mind talking to another mind in the conflict. So just I'm not the mind. If just we remove that,
True.
then
Typically, it's an
all of
ego
this,
ride. It's an ego ride that we are taking.
correct.
Yeah.
It's like
So
एक हाथ से ताली नहीं बजती, right? So even if our mind itself is telling or keep on ranting about some situation, or I'm not the mind. Just coming into this moment. It's a practice. I kind of do it with my son these days. It's like he will cry or do something, and I will say, that moment is gone. Come here. This is here. This is happiness, and he becomes immediately happy. So, and I also get to practice that. So,
very nice,
just
Pratusha.
like kind of
Please
a
do keep sharing all these tools with that we all can benefit from. So it's very heartening to see you actually try to take this knowledge to the next level of implementing, practicing, and seeing the results as well. So thank you for sharing that.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Thank you for thanking. Yes. Anybody else has any other questions?
Maybe a few hands raised. Shall we take them all?
Yeah, sure. Please do fill out the feedback tracker. Let's post it if not already. If you have questions, put it out. Otherwise, you can simply say Radhe Radhe, or just put your name and don't say anything, but fill out the feedback tracker. That's fine. Yes, if there are anything on the chat we can take, sure. Let's go ahead and do that.
Yeah, we have Kumarji's hand raised. Kumarji, Radhe Radhe.
Jai Ram, Jai Shri Ram, Jai Hanuman. So on passion and dispassion, right? So we should be passionate about work, which is the effort that we do, and we should be dispassionate in the manner in which it's done, in the sense that if that's about the result, right? Whether the result comes in our favor or not get affected by it. So dispassionate is a beautiful word, many times miscommunicated or misunderstood, but that is one of the highest qualities in our spiritual realm. That's what I had to share. Thank you. Jai Shri Ram.
Thank you. Very, very aptly said, Kumarji. Thank you very much for that.
Radhe Radhe. Shilpa ji,
Shilpa ji?
I
So
guess.
Shilpa ji is the only one. See, either somebody's, I don't know why. I mean, you can simply call me Nitin, but somebody calls me sir. Somebody says Nitin ji, and Shilpa ji is the only one who says Nitin ji sir. Okay. You can simply call me Nitin. That is fine.
Radhe Radhe. Again, Nitinji.
Please go
Yeah, I wanted to. It's kind of the word dispassionate is. I wanted to go back to the verse. Is it part of the verse?
Yes, if you look at it, let me go back. It's a good question that you called out. It's part of the verse, not exactly, but when
Okay.
Lord Krishna is talking about, let's go back. Good, you called that out, okay? So that we don't lose the big picture why we are discussing all this stuff, right? So he's saying who neither desire nor hate. Okay. Na dveshti na kankshati. So that means being dispassionate. Make sense?
Which word? Which word
Na
exactly
na
means?
na dveshti na kankshati. Na dveshti na neither desire nor hate.
Okay.
Neutral, equanimous kind of a situation, you know. Let's check out the word. I think we have done a dissertation and PhD on this word dispassion. Check it out. What are the different ways we can actually put it in a sentence? But I would imagine that neither desire nor hate is like
Got
is kind of being dispassionate to something. Yeah.
Got it. I'm just trying to understand if I were to, in my understanding, replace the word dispassionate to neutral, would I be losing the meaning?
You know, I don't think so. I think it's kind of an antonym only, but we have English experts here. They might be able to chime in better than do. My English was ever always a little weak, but I can take a good guess around it. But I would say, yeah, it would be pretty approximate or close to that.
Okay, so dveshti is like dvesh, like hate. I
Hate.
understand that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, got it. Okay, thank you so much.
No worries. Thank you for asking, and it definitely benefits other participants as well. So if they had any question, okay. Yes, Samiranji, you wanted to say something?
Yes, sir. Sir, actually about the bondage and the freedom part, uh, you also mentioned that because of our minds are so conditioned. That was I was thinking when you said that. That suppose there is a situation that there was a point when you told we should like depending our lives to others. So if there is a situation like there are old parents and they are solely dependent on their children to take care of. In that situation, uh, how can we expect that it is not dependent on others? And
No, you do
also
it with a
because
sense of duty. See, let's understand these are very subtle things. You do things with a sense of duty as well, right? That doesn't mean you get attached to that thing itself. Arjun was being asked to do it as a sense of duty. You do things with a sense of duty. You raise kids with a sense of duty. You take care of parents with a sense of duty. That thing is there. But when the attachment aspect comes, it is called unholy. It is like having that holes in that boat. Now you are letting the water come in, and gradually we keep on building that, and then when you have that critical mass of water, it drowns our boat, and then we repeat again. So you can still take care of everything. You can still perform your duties and discharge your duties to people around you without being attached. It's a very deep concept. It's called detached attachment.
actually, yeah, as in the Bhagavad Gita also, it is the word mentions that contaminated souls, or as you said, conditioned mind.
Conditioned minds, yeah.
We practice certain things, but again and again, because of the condition that we have from the past experiences and the past habits, we again fall back to the like into the worldly things of attachment and things like that surrounded. So that is what I was trying to tell, that
Right.
how can we be on this path?
True. So thing is that those attachments become our sanskars, right? The concept of falling in that the trap of attachment with people around, right? That becomes our sanskar. So for example, the attachment is to the son, or let's say the attachment is to parents, or say let's say an attachment is there to a relation. So that becomes your sanskar, and that role will keep on changing in every life. Same attachment you're using. Now it is somebody A, now it is A, and then it is B, and then it is C, and then it is D. It just keeps on changing. The sanskar is to have that attachment towards this particular relationship. That relationship is changing. Souls are changing, but relationship is remaining, so that sanskar is actually causing the bondage and making us repeat. Do you think the same people you would have, the same parents you'll have across multiple lifetimes? No.
No.
The same attachments for them, because the sanskars are dictating you at this point. Arjun, right? Just they enacted a leela when Abhimanyu was killed. You were like, beta, all this. He was lamenting big time. So Krishna said, okay, let me put it in perspective for him. It took him. And Abhimanyu, when he met, basically in his spirit soul, he said, okay, beta. He said, what beta? So many lifetimes I've been your father, and so many lifetimes you've been my beta. So what is this beta thing? Okay. So point is, when we are in this bodily consciousness, and because of our conditioned mind, our sanskars are dictating these attachments, and that we keep falling prey to lifetime after lifetime. Who's a sambandhi, if you think about it? What is who have you built the attachment with? Think about it. People move on in their journey after this lifetime. You'll have a different set of parents. You'll have a different set of relatives around. Are you going to do the same thing with different people lifetime after lifetime after lifetime? That is what our scriptures are telling us. Look at it. So sanskars is something that we need to work on, and that is the whole purpose of Bhagavad Gita and the spiritual principles around it. Build sanskars that actually help you, and not something that entrench you further in this material world. That is the whole idea. Good, deep discussion today. Okay, so with that, we come to the end of our session today. Anybody, Vicky, we can take two hands if somebody wants to do chanting or recitation. We don't have that layout, Sumiran Karle Mana today, because Sandhya is retreating away to glory in Tirupati. So anybody who wants to, Monica ji, you want to sing something? Go ahead, please. Today you will own the devotional segment. I'm going to put you on spot today. And then Shyamji, I want to put you on spot as well. Okay, but don't get fearful that, okay, I'm going to call out your name, so don't turn off your cameras just because I've started calling people.
Radhe Radhe.
Shyamji, you can think of something, couple of lines. Yes, Monica ji, go ahead, please. And then you can have our devotional segment and move on.
This is devotional segment, right?
Sure. Yeah, we have moved on.
Okay. Okay. Achyutam Keshavam Krishna Damodaram Ram Narayanam Janaki Vallabham. कौन कहते हैं भगवान आते नहीं, कौन कहते हैं भगवान आते नहीं, तुम मीरा के जैसे बुलाते नहीं, तुम मीरा के जैसे बुलाते नहीं. अच्युतम केशवम कृष्ण दामोदरम राम नारायणम जानकी वल्लभम. कौन कहते हैं भगवान खाते नहीं, कौन कहते हैं भगवान खाते नहीं, वीर शबरी के जैसे खिलाते नहीं, वीर शबरी के जैसे खिलाते नहीं. अच्युतम केशवम कृष्ण दामोदरम राम नारायणम जानकी वल्लभम. कौन कहते हैं भगवान सोते नहीं, कौन कहते हैं भगवान सोते नहीं, माँ यशोदा के जैसे सुलाते नहीं. अच्युतम केशवम कृष्ण दामोदरम. राम नारायणं जानकी वल्लभ. राधे राधे. Sorry, couldn't help it.
Thank you very much. Now you can add this line as well. कौन कहते हैं भगवान रोते नहीं, अब तुम मोनिका के जैसे रुलाते नहीं. Nicely done. Thank you very much. And thank you for singing it out for us. So very nice. Loved it. Shamji, are you ready?
It's my Radhe Radhe.
Radhe
Yes,
Radhe.
off I listen to a new bhajan, so I will just sing few lines if it's okay. Yeah, I'll start. हमारे साथ श्री रघुनाथ तो किस बात की चिंता, हमारे साथ श्री रघुनाथ तो किस बात की चिंता, चरण में रख दिया जब माथ तो किस बात की चिंता, शरण में रख दिया जब माथ तो किस बात की चिंता, हमारे साथ श्री रघुनाथ तो किस बात की चिंता. राधे राधे.
Very nice, Shamji. Radhe Radhe. That's the theme of the year now. Very nice.
Yeah.
Loved it. Okay, I'll also sing a couple of lines. Do we? Oh, I see Sandhya ji as well. Yes, Sandhya ji.
I have like too many stanzas, but I would like to sing only 2 to 3.
Yes. Okay.
जय जनार्दना कृष्णा राधिकापते, जन विमोचना कृष्णा जन्ममोचना, गरुडवाहना कृष्णा गोपिकापते, नयनमोहना कृष्णा नीरजेक्षणा, सुजन बान्धवा कृष्णा सुन्दराकृते, मदन कोमला कृष्णा माधवा हरे, वसुमतीपते कृष्णा वासवानुजा, वरुण वरगुणाकरा कृष्णा वैष्णवाकृते, सुरचिनानना कृष्णा शौर्यवारिधे, मुरहरा विभो कृष्णा मुक्तिदायका, विमलपालका कृष्णा वल्लभीपते, कमललोचना कृष्णा काम्यदायका. Thank you so much. And this goes on, like, we have few more, but I would like to stop. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Sandhya ji. So let me sing a few lines because the theme is Lord Ram, and we keep talking about keep meeting Lord Krishna every week and pretty much every day. So I said, okay, let me bring them both together. Okay, it's one of my favorite bhajans too. So let me sing a few lines for that. रघुराज कहें यदुराज कहें, तुम रूप अनूप दिखाते हो, रघुराज कहें यदुराज कहें, तुम रूप अनूप दिखाते हो, कभी धनुष बाण धरि आते हो, कभी वंशी मधुर बजाते हो, कभी धनुष बाण धरि आते हो, कभी वंशी मधुर बजाते हो, जय जय राम राम राम, जय जय श्याम श्याम श्याम, जय जय राम राम राम, जय जय श्याम श्याम श्याम, कभी तीर चलाते हाथों से, कभी नैनन तीर चलाते हो, कभी छाछ मांगते ग्वालिन से, कभी शबरी के फल खाते हो, जय जय राम राम राम, जय जय श्याम श्याम श्याम, जय जय राम राम राम, जय जय श्याम श्याम श्याम, है वास तुम्हारा घट घट में, सब जग को नाच नचाते हो, फिर भी यशोदा के हाथों से तुम उखल में बंध जाते हो। जय जय राम राम राम, जय जय श्याम श्याम श्याम, जय जय राम राम राम, जय जय श्याम श्याम श्याम. All right. So we brought Ram and Shyam together. It's one of my favorite bhajans. So thank you, everybody. Hope you enjoyed.
Wonderful. Radhe Radhe.
Yeah. So thank you again. Tomorrow we'll continue with the same discussion, peel some more layers around this topic, and then we'll have our devotional segment as well. Continue with Sumiral Karle Mana. So thank you again for your enthusiastic and engaging participation, and especially to everybody who turned their videos on. Radhe Radhe, good night, good day from my side.
Thank you so much. Radhe Radhe. See you all tomorrow.
See you all tomorrow.